What's up, everybody? So today we're going to be working on the little chunky file knives. So the two Tontos that we have right there, plus the little EDC drop point that we have right here. We're going to be working on sharpening these. Now, I was going to do them in 3 different videos, but decided to change that up, and I'll hit on that in just a second. But I wanted to talk about why there hasn't been a ton of videos. Now, I've been doing, of course, a lot of training with work and getting used to the new job where I'm running a whole part of an RV location, and it's been a lot of learning a lot of stuff and getting used to a whole new process. So we've got that. It's been taking up a lot of my time, and then on top of that, I've been knocking out 3 heirloom knives. So if y'all can imagine, not just one of those, which took a while to do, I had to do 3 of them and make them look exactly like that first one. And you might not think that a whole lot goes into that, but because of how complicated the handle scales are with the layers and all that stuff, it takes a lot of work. So whenever you're doing this, you got to create 3 that look like this. So 1, 2, 3. Now, we still have to do some hand sanding on these to really fine tune them and make them 100% perfect. But I'm going to tell you right now, the amount of work that goes into getting the handle scales to have the right layers and the right spots like that. So you've got to have where the brown or the actual wood color is, have it shaped right, and then we go into the green layer, and then the blue, and then the brown, and then the blue. Let's just make sure that we have to get everything exactly how it needs to be. Same thing with the zebra wood, all of that. I mean, trying to replicate this 3 times on one of my more complicated knives, it's not been easy. It's taken up a lot of time, but we're at a point now to where all we got to do is just some hand sanding, put an edge on them. I've got to make a sheath for one of them because 2 of them have leather sheaths that are already made right here. And then one of them is getting a kydex sheath. So we're going to have that, but it has been hell knocking these out and making them as close to looking exactly the same as possible. I'm super picky, and if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right, even if it takes a little bit of extra time. These, of course, have taken a lot of extra time, but again, you're trying to replicate something that is my most iconic knife. So it is the knife that I'm most known for, and it is one of the most known knives on YouTube. I mean, that one video, over 500,000 views. So, I mean, it's kind of up there. A lot of people have seen that, and you know, I think that's awesome. But trying to replicate that and it be something that is so easily seen, it's not that easy. So, especially when you're doing it all by hand with no machines that are doing certain parts for you, other than the tools that I use. All of the shapes and all of the layers and all of that stuff, that's all me. So, yeah, it takes a lot of work. But been knocking those out. I will tell you, I plan on doing another one of these. I told you all before in one of my other videos that these were the last 3 that I'm going to be doing, but I am going to do one more. Now, this knife is a full-size knife. It's not a small knife. It's got a full handle on it, full-size blade. It's a thick knife. I really like this, but I want to scale it down just a little bit for an EDC carry. Now, I do carry some bigger knives for EDC, but for this one, I'm going to scale it down a little bit because I have a few more of the really thick files, but they're a little bit thinner than this, so they're not as tall as this one. So we're going to scale that knife down a little bit. I'm also going to do the handle a little bit different, where I'm actually going to kind of dovetail the zebra wood into these scales right here. So these are going to angle this wood's going to angle into this top layer. So of course I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult than what it is already, but we're going to do a few things different. We're going to end up adding a lanyard tube towards the back. So it'll have a lanyard tube, it'll have a little bit cooler handle scales, it'll have a few extra things done to it, but I will film that one. Now that one's going to be a knife that I plan on giving to my kid whenever he is older. So we're going to have that knife that I'm going to give to him, and then of course I am making him a knife that he actually designed. So y'all get to see that. But without further ado, what we're going to do with this one is we are going to sharpen all three of these knives in this video, because it doesn't make sense for me to do, you know, a separate video for each one of these knives when it only takes me about 10 minutes to sharpen these, and whenever you do time lapse and all that stuff, it cuts down to about 4 minutes. So I'm going to show y'all the whole process. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 400 grit on the 2x72, then we're going to go into 600, 800, 1000 and a leather strapping belt on the 1x30. So I'm not really going to do a voiceover on this one. This is just going to be music and tool noises, because I'm telling y'all right now what I'm going to be doing. So 2x72, we're going to use a 400 grit belt. The 1x30, we're going to use a 600, an 800, a 1000 grit, and then a leather strapping belt to finish it out. We're just going to knock it out. We're going to get this thing done, and then we'll talk whenever we go to the outro. So let's jump into it. Let's get it knocked out. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a voiceover, because I want to reiterate, you know, I could have made this video a lot shorter, but I wanted to talk to y'all for a minute in the intro, and then even for the sharpening process on this, I could have made this way shorter by just showing y'all the highlights, but I wanted to show you each belt with each knife, the whole process. I really feel like y'all like it whenever I do that, as opposed to just doing the highlights and, you know, sharpening a little bit of a knife here, a little bit of a knife there. You know, I know that y'all like seeing each one get done, so we're just going to do some time lapse with each step, each belt, and go from there. So we'll talk about these in a little bit whenever we go to the outro, but for now, just go ahead and watch the sharpening process. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap up today's daily vlog. And what I decided to do on this one was, instead of cutting paper and doing all that stuff, I'm just going to go ahead, shave some hair with it. And partially because y'all haven't seen me do that in a little while. When it comes to edge retention on these knives, I have 100% faith in them. I will do a little bit of edge retention with some wood, chopping a few things, but these aren't huge choppers. You aren't going to be doing that with these knives. I guess you can if you want to, but that's not what they're really meant for. They're just good EDCs for all kinds of different stuff. They do hold an edge for a very long time. The cool thing about these file knives is they were originally meant to cut steel. So, I mean, talk about being able to hold an edge, that's amazing. And these will do that for a very long time. I've had file knives that I've made that I haven't had to put an edge on in a year after using it. So I really have a lot of faith in these. But are they sharp? Let's give it a little shave test here. My sweaty arms. See if you can see all of that. So there's one down. Now we're going to do the Tonto that I'm keeping. This awesome guy right here. See if y'all can see that. Definitely a shaver there. Now let's go to the last one. This one has the steepest angle out of all of them. So this one, the grind goes almost all the way up to the spine. This one, the grind also goes almost all the way up to the spine. This one is about 2/3 up. So this is going to be the most aggressive angle when it comes down. So it's not exactly going to have the shaving edge geometry, but it should do just fine. Or it will do amazing. Holy crap. Okay, so this actually shaves. This shaves very well. Wasn't exactly expecting that, but there you go. Definitely sharp, all three of them. I couldn't be happier with how these turned out. Guys, y'all tell me what y'all think about those. They are definitely sharp. I might throw in a little bit of edge retention in the next Shop Talk Tuesday just so that y'all can actually see that. Basically what I got to do on knives like this, because they're not super long or anything like that, is I typically have to either mount them in the vise and beat them with the wood, or I might be able to get enough force to be able to do a few things, or I might just chop some wood or do some feather sticks. Who knows? But we'll work on something like that. But I love how these turned out. The next step for these is getting the sheaths made. So yeah, I don't exactly know what sheaths I'm going to make for these. I know that for this one it's definitely getting a cool tactical Kydex sheath with clip and everything. This one will probably get a Kydex sheath, but I'm going to do it with the basket weave material that I have. I don't even have a piece of that to be able to show you, but I'm going to do it with the basket weave material. You'll see that whenever we actually do a video for it. And then on this one, I don't know. Probably going to get a Kydex sheath, probably get kind of a tan kohler or something like that. But this one, I'm just going to make a really cool Kydex sheath and it's probably going to be kind of like a tan color and have just a nice good shape to it. Something about like that one right there, because I think that that would be a good looking little sheath right there for this knife. But we'll see how it turns out. Those are going to have most likely their own videos, or I'll do them all in one. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out when we get there. But I'm excited about getting some of this stuff knocked out. Once we get those heirloom knives finished, I will be pretty much done with customer orders, and it will be back to just doing builds, which is awesome because I can do more daily vlogs when it's just dedicated to doing one knife at a time as I'm going through it, as opposed to doing that knife plus filming, editing, all that stuff for that knife, and then doing 5 or 6 other builds in the background at the same time. It's a lot easier when you just got to work on one knife. So that's what we're going to be doing from that point forward. Once we get the rest of these knocked out, guys, that's the end of this one. If you would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video, or one of my other videos that I've done. Guys, if you haven't yet, bottom corner, hit that subscribe button so you get notified for all the stuff that we have coming up. Guys, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for spending your time with me. Y'all have an amazing day. I'll catch y'all next time.